my art friends. Thank you for joining me for the continuation of our online journey. We're going to be looking at photography, and I'm sharing my inspiration of California, a quick trip that I had taken, and also to chat a little bit about the principles of art that I was able to view there. So, the goals of the slideshow are as follows. My goal in taking and arranging these photos was to represent the subjects that I noticed while visiting California that looked so different than what I always see on a typical day in New York. My subject matter and emphasis were mainly on the architecture, the buildings, and the natural elements, especially when I could combine them. I especially enjoyed admiring the patterns of the desert plants, which were a type of natural element that I had actually never seen in their natural habitat before, only maybe in a store or, somewhere not living in nature. So I just wanted to share that too. So my first set of photos is something that I've been playing around with when I take my pictures. Typically, when we take a photo, we want it to look very realistic and we want our lines to be very sharp. Now, in this case, I actually decided that I wanted to soften the lines and blend them and create a lot of harmony and to almost make it look like a painting. So I've been playing around with that effect for a while. And as you can see, I don't have one focal point necessarily. I did create more harmony in the photo by blending all of the elements together. So as you can see on the left, I do have a little bit of a focal point in the surfer in the forefront, the foregrounds, but as you can see, I just tried to give everything a similar amount of importance and just tried to blend everything and give that sense of serene calm at the beach. And then on the other side, I decided to play with some contrast with the pop of color between the sky and the clouds and create that contrast with the shadow of the trees. So again, it's something that I've been really having a fun time with photographs, and I want to continue to do that. So in this particular set of pictures, what I wanted to do was kind of focus on the geometry that I was seeing. So as you'll notice, there's, semicircles, rectangles, there's patterns and symmetry and all the things that you're seeing. And the one was a view out of a trolley going off to Coronado Island. And then the other one was, just a vision of the bridge, just kind of taking a look at how that's set up. And one of the things that I liked was how the bridge and the water and kind of the atmosphere in the background in the sky was all kind of almost monochromatic or one color, that like grayish blue and soft. And then the inside of the trolley was so bright and vibrant and dark. And then the combination of that texture of the brass, with the handrail was kind of fun, I thought, in my opinion. So I wanted to show the combination of that and the contrast. And I also really liked looking at everything from afar. So taking a far view of everything and being able to see all that symmetry in the bridge building. So with this particular photo, it's taken in Ocean Beach, and I really love graphic art. Basically strong shapes like the peace sign or things like that that pop against a background. And as you can see, it was a pretty sunny day. So it almost looks like there's no sky behind the sign. So it makes it pop even more. And what I tried to do is to make the lines behind that still sharp and to jump out, but then also to and soften the lines of the hotel itself to make that almost have more of a painting effect as well. I also really liked the symmetry of the building, so I wanted to highlight the lines and the patterns in that. I also wanted to create contrast with the following photo because in that photo, and even within itself, there's so much contrast in the patterns there because there's the organic shapes that are on the beach with the rock and the sands that is created as the pools of water form, combined with the graphic nature of the pier itself. So the pier is obviously man-made. It's built by people. So it has a lot of symmetry. It has a lot of structure. And so I like the combination of that with the more natural elements. So Balboa Park is the place that we're going to step into here. And it was just one of my favorite places because, again, it combined the architecture and the beautiful buildings with the nature that was all around. So just nature everywhere you looked. And I really love the shapes that are created in this architecture. I love the arches. I love the texture and the patterns that are on everything. You can even see up close in the right-hand side, even the stucco, which is that pattern, and it's almost like clay, the marks in it with the shadow. I really wanted to just capture that effect. So it's, again, one of those things, because it's Spanish and Moorish architecture, we don't typically see in the Northeast. So that was fun to be able to see that up close and personal. Now, this was inside a museum, and these are Mayan stelae. So they are basically this beautiful tower of chiseled and carved artwork that I just loved. I loved it in combination with the architecture in the background and also the murals. So it had this soft, vibrant mural, and then it had the strong elements, features, and patterns of the rock that it was carved out of. And you could just see there's so much detail involved, so much texture. And I wanted that really to be my visual elements, and I wanted that to be my focal point. So this was a great place to take photos because everywhere you looked, there was just some beautiful artifact to snap a picture of. Now, going back outside in Balboa Park, this was especially fun because, like I mentioned, I don't often see, you know, deserts items like the succulents or the cacti living obviously in New York. So to see everything in its natural habitat and not just like for sale at a store was amazing. It just has the coolest look to it, and the textures and patterns are so different than the trees and the natural elements that we have around here. And I really liked the symmetry. It almost looked like it wasn't even real. It almost looked like it was created, especially the two that you can see on the right hand side. I loved the symmetry, the lines, the patterns, especially when they were all combined more like on the left hand side. This was a rose garden. So again, this had a combination of harmony between the fact that in 360 view, wherever you looked, there was just roses everywhere and a circular pattern as you walked around the outside. And then you can see that kind of echoed in the single rose that you see. Such beautiful symmetry. And I loved the contrast between the colors and the patterns in, not only the petals themselves, but the leaves as well. This was a fun one. So obviously this is someone's original artwork. It's a mural, and that was in one of the gardens. And then I liked that man-made structure combined with the wildness and the tangle of this cactus. So I thought this was super fun because, you know, it's just amazing to see this complete tumble. It looks almost like a sculpture of the way that this cactus grows. And last but not least, this combination I wanted to share because I liked the blues and greens that were evident as I played around with the color and the saturation in my photo itself. And then I also liked the darkness of the shadows of the pine cone and the backgrounds of the sand and some of the sea glass, and how that echoes too in the pictures of the palm trees. And I loved the elements, the spikiness of the palm trees, and then the softness of some of the shells and the sand that I had picked up. So I hope that you enjoyed this little quick trip to California. And I hope it reminds you to always just look around at anything new you're experiencing and to see what you can capture from that journey. So much for joining